Hi, I'm Megan Youngblood, and today I'm going to tell you how to identify, control, and prevent armillaria root rot. You may know it as oak root rot or mushroom root disease. It's a fungal disease caused by several different species of armillaria. It's mostly attributed to the fungus Armillaria mellia. However, in the southeast, Armillaria tabescens is primarily responsible for causing the disease. It's both a pathogen, killing the living tissues in a tree, and a saprobe, living on dead or non-functional wood after the infected host dies. So according to LSU Ag Center, these are some of the common host plants on this slide. It's one of the leading causes of premature fruit tree mortality in the Southeast, and it's the kiss of death for many deciduous and evergreen trees and shrubs. The fungus spreads from tree to tree by mycelia or rhizomorphs growing out from diseased roots and infecting healthy roots of nearby trees. To a lesser degree, the fungus is wind dispersed by spores that are produced during the disease's mushroom phase. What will happen is that the fungus attacks and kills the vascular cambium, that layer of dividing cells between the xylem and the phloem, then spreads laterally to the main stem, which can girdle the base of the trunk and kill the entire tree. In fruit trees, armillaria root rot is most prevalent in orchards or home gardens, planted on newly cleared hardwood forest land that contain infested soil and infected wood pieces. So there are three distinct features that you can see without magnification. The signs are honey-colored mushrooms, mycelial fans, and rhizomorphs. Honey-colored mushrooms typically appear in a cluster at the base of infected trees or shrubs. Sometimes you'll see them pop up from a buried root in the grass or ground cover away from the infected tree. They also form on old stumps. When you see the mushrooms, the fungus has likely been present below ground for quite some time. And yes, people have eaten them, but beware, some have reported stomach aches. Mycelial fans are white mats of the fungus that grow through the cambium. The fungus often grows in a fan-like pattern and can be easily seen by scraping back some of the bark near cankers or at the crown of the tree. To find them, you need to dig into the soil at the base of the trunk about 12 to 18 inches beneath the soil line. Then peel or cut away the dead bark with a knife at the trunk or on large roots. A cool thing about armillaria is that the mycelium is often bioluminescent, which means that it gives off light. So if you do find wood infected with armillaria, take a piece into a darkened room and it should illuminate. Rhizomorphs, so these things, well, they came from the Upside Down in Stranger Things. They are black shoestring-like strands of fungal growth that can spread up to 10 feet from an infected tree or stump to infect healthy roots. What are the symptoms? On deciduous trees, it's poor growth, small or yellow leaves. On evergreen trees, it's browning needles, dead branches in the upper canopy. The tree may produce an abundant crop of seeds or cones, but it will eventually die. And then on fruit trees, it's leaf curling along the midrib, leaf bronzing and wilting, downward hanging leaves and branch dieback, and large dark colored cankers form on the stems and larger branches that ooze resin. It's really difficult to control, but because its infected tissue can persist for decades, and I read even a century below ground, long after the infected host plants have died or were removed. There are no fungicides available for its control. And if a plant in your yard dies from armillaria root rot, the main action to take to prevent infection of other plants is to remove the stump and as many roots as possible of the diseased plant. So what can we do to prevent it? We need to start with disease-free, healthy plants and don't plant them too deep. We need to reduce stress on trees, mulch the soil around the base of the tree, water trees during drought, make sure you have good drainage, protect trees from wounding, away from lawnmowers and weed whips, and don't even think about replanting the same type of tree in its place unless you want it to get root rot. Some varieties of plum, pear, persimmon trees are moderately resistant to armillaria root rot and are good replacement choices here in the South. Thanks for listening.